Okay, so what I have here is just a cup of water. I'm going to use tempera paint, and then I'm doing this on my sketchbook page and just leaving it open with a binder clip. And I'm going to go through the tints and shades. So we're starting with one hue. So if you start with one color, which I'm going to start with blue, it's just a pure blue. And then if you add white to pure blue slowly, you're going to get tints of that hue. So you're getting tints of the blue. And the more white you add to it, obviously the lighter and lighter the value gets. If you add black to the blue, then the darker and darker the value gets, and that's called a shade. So you're starting with a pure color, and then you're moving one way or another. So what I'm gonna do is actually start with white, because that's the easier one to kind of add to. And I'm getting my brush just a tiny bit wet so that it moves a little bit better on my sketchbook page. And I'm gonna have a little bit of white that I start out with in the center of my palette. And I'm gonna to get things started, I'm actually gonna do this up here. I'm gonna have a little white square, you can barely see it up there, but that's my starting point. And then I'm gonna take the tip of my brush and just add a little tiny bit of blue. I might even add a little bit more white, so it's not, I want a place to go, right? I don't wanna get too blue too fast. And I'm going to layer that right next to that white square. And then I'm gonna continue that, and I'm moving through all these tints that I can create. I'm gonna continue building. I just added a little bit more white and blue. And the goal is that each time you're adding blue, your tint is getting a little bit closer, just a tiny bit closer to the actual hue. So you're going to start, now I'm gonna start adding quite a bit more blue to it, more so than the white. I might need to add white at some point. We're still using a tint. This is still a blue tint because it has white in it. Anytime you're adding white to something, you're tinting it. So I'm moving a little bit more blue in now. I'm gonna get a little heavier so that I can get really close at the end of my page to just having pure blue, maybe a tiny bit of white. But if for some reason you have a color that you know, it's like a little bit lighter here and a little bit darker, and then oops, I actually, did a white one, that's fine. We're just practicing right now, trying to practice that gradual gradient. Like those three colors are all really similar. So I think it's about time to just do straight blue. Close to straight blue, but has some white in it. So I'm gonna rinse out my brush, and then I'm gonna do the same thing, but this time I'm going to start with blue and move to black. Because if you're starting with black and moving to blue, it's gonna be really hard. So I'm starting in the same area. I'm gonna actually use the same painting palette, grab a bunch of blue, have a little bit of water in my brush just to make it smoother, and I'm going to paint that pure blue hue onto the left side of my page. And then we're doing the exact same thing. I'm getting like a little tiny dot of black and adding it in. Now black is really powerful, so you need to watch out, because even a tiny bit of black, we still want it to be gradual, and it's really easy to go straight black very fast. See how dark that one is already? I don't want to get it I still want to have this kind of like somewhat gradual movement. That's pretty close in color, maybe slightly darker. If you need to add more blue in, you can, just so you have that color change. Can you tell that I'm already getting really close to black?
Yeah.
It's really, really easy to move that way. That's okay.
My red one, that's what happened to me. It got black really fast.
Yes. So a lot of, like, those two hues are pretty close. And I probably won't be able to do quite as many as this, which is fine. It's really just the practice of, it's trying to practice and know that when you add black to something, that it goes very quickly. And then obviously I'm almost to pure black now, so I'm gonna rinse that brush out, squeegee it off, and then I'm going to actually just do a pure black one at the end.
It also looks a lot different when it dries, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
You can see more of the shade.
Yes, you can see like this blue is already kind of drying a little bit. So that is the tints and shades exercise. So it's just starting with one hue and then adding in either white or black to create a tint and seeing all the ranges that you can get and then a shade. And so that's all you need to do, and then take a photo of it and then upload it to Google Classroom.
Okay.